War isn't supposed to have mercy. Up there, above the clouds, where death rides on propellers and machine guns, kindness is a forgotten luxury. That's what Captain James Hawkins believed, until the day a German ace had him locked in his sights, and didn't pull the trigger. December 20th, 1943. The sky over Germany was a frozen wasteland of gray clouds and vapor trails. The air inside the battered B-17 flying fortress, Lucky Lady, was colder than a meat locker. Captain Hawkins clutched the controls, sweat freezing on his brow, his bomber limping home with one engine smoking and half the tail missing. His squadron was gone, blown apart by relentless flak and swarms of Messerschmitt BF-109s. Only Lucky Lady remained, wounded, alone, struggling across enemy territory. The radio crackled uselessly with static. His co-pilot, Vince, was slumped beside him, bleeding from a shrapnel wound. "Stay with me, Vince. We're getting home," Hawk whispered, his voice cracking under exhaustion. But deep down, he wasn't sure. The enemy appears. A glint of silver. The unmistakable shark-like silhouette cutting through the clouds. Hawk's stomach tightened. A lone BF-109. "Of course," Hawk muttered, gripping the controls tighter. His gunners were dead or unconscious. The bomber's guns were silent. He was a flying duck, waiting for the inevitable. The Messerschmitt banked gracefully, closing the distance with predatory calm. It was so close now, Hawk could see the pilot's helmet, the black cross painted proudly on the fuselage, the snarling mouth painted beneath the engine cowling. For a moment, their eyes met. Hawk expected the rattling burst of machine gun fire to rip through the cockpit any second. But it never came. Character reveal. Inside the BF-109, Franz Stigler adjusted his grip on the stick. He was no rookie. An ace with 22 kills. Decorated. Feared. But as he approached the crippled bomber, something made him hesitate. Through the fractured glass, he saw the pilot, exhausted, desperate. Behind him, the gunner lay slumped. Blood painted the inside of the fuselage. Bullet holes riddled the tail. This wasn't a war machine. This was a coffin with wings. Franz's older brother, August, flashed through his mind, the one who'd taught him to fly before dying in North Africa. "I'd rather face a court-martial than murder a defenseless man," August had once said. Franz understood now. The suspense builds. Hawk watched in disbelief as the BF-109 pulled alongside, wingtip to wingtip. The German pilot's face was visible now, a young man, barely older than Hawk himself. His expression wasn't cold, wasn't cruel. It was human. Franz raised a gloved hand, signaling. It wasn't aggressive, it was a warning. A silent command, "Turn west. Go home." Hawk hesitated. Was this a trick? Lure him off course? Was the German playing with him before the kill? Franz pointed west again, more insistently. Behind them, black smoke curled from the bomber's engine. Time was running out. The reluctant escape. Hawk tapped Vince's shoulder. "Hold tight, we're making a break for it." He nudged the bomber west, away from the combat zone. Franz's Messerschmitt shadowed them, not attacking, not leaving. Like an escort. Minutes crawled by. Hawk kept glancing nervously at the German. Franz stayed with them until they neared the coastline, Allied territory shimmering on the horizon like salvation. Then, with a final salute, Franz peeled away, vanishing into the clouds. The haunted return. Back at the airfield, Lucky Lady landed hard, skidding along the runway, metal groaning in protest. Ground crews swarmed the wreck. Medics pulled Vince out. Hawk staggered to the tarmac, mind racing. "What happened up there?" the ground commander demanded. Hawk hesitated. What could he say? That a German ace spared his life? That mercy existed in the sky? He shook his head. "Just got lucky," he muttered. The lingering mystery. 4 years, the war ground on. Hawk flew more missions. Witnessed more death. But he never forgot that day. The German pilot's eyes. The impossible mercy. It became a ghost in his memory. A secret that didn't fit the brutal narrative of war. Until decades later. The thrilling climax. A reunion of World War II veterans. Gray-haired men sharing drinks, swapping faded stories. Hawk, now retired, still carried the unanswered question. A friend approached. "Hey Hawk, ever hear of Franz Stigler?" Hawk's heart skipped. "Who?" "German ace. There's a book about him. Rumor says he spared a B-17 over Germany, 1943. Been looking for the bomber pilot ever since." Hawk's glass slipped from his hand, shattering. Franz Stigler. It had a name now. The Unlikely Reunion. It took months, but finally, Hawk found him. The German ace, now living quietly in Vancouver. An old man with kind eyes and a firm handshake. They met in person. Shared their sides of the story. Two enemies, once locked in the deadly dance of war, now shaking hands as brothers. "You spared me," Hawk whispered, voice tight with emotion. Franz smiled faintly. "You were no enemy that day. Just a boy trying to survive. Like me." Their friendship lasted until they both passed, old men bound not by bullets, but by a moment of impossible humanity in the bloodiest war. Because sometimes, even in war, mercy flies on the wings of a Messerschmitt. And sometimes, the enemy is the one who saves your life.